Hello everyone, and this is my review for WWE Smackdown on October the 11th, 2016, and well, really, outside of the beginning segment and kind of the end in a general, or the last hour in general, it was a little bit of a mix mash of, kind of just meh, but there was some but there was also some good storytelling to go along with everything. The opening promo with Dolph Ziggler and The Miz was absolutely great. So Dolph Ziggler comes out there to talk about, winning the Intercontinental title at No Mercy and everything, and like how emotional the match was and everything to that sense. And then Miz comes out to what has to be probably one of the funniest things I've seen him do. Like, they were mourning the Intercontinental title. It was great. They come out, him and Maurice come out dressed in black. They're mourning the Intercontinental title because he had lost it, and saying that now it's on a nobody like Dolph Ziggler, and that Miz needs to get it back, but give it any kind of prestige or anything like that. Great stuff from them. This leads into the Spirit Squad coming out. Once again, they kind of had to finish off that portion of it from last week, where they came out during the Miz TV segment. They also came out during the match as well, and this eventually led to a 2-on-1 handicap match with Dolph Ziggler and Mikey and Kenny from the Spirit Squad. Of course, Dolph Ziggler goes over in this case because they can't be keeping the Spirit Squad around for too much longer, unless they're going to keep them around for the tag division, which I guess could be fine in that sense to go along with it. But right after the match, Miz starts attacking Dolph Ziggler. All three of them are attacking, and then lo and behold, you would have figured with the fact that it looked like Dolph Ziggler was wearing a Hype Bros shirt throughout the entire time. Throughout the promo and everything, that maybe the Hype Bros would come out there and make the save. No, who makes the save? Heath Slater and Rhino. Maybe they are keeping the Spirit Squad around for a little bit longer, just for like a 6-man or something like that, or maybe a shot at the SmackDown tag titles. Who knows what they're gonna go with that portion of everything, but. Overall, not a bad segment. I liked where they were going with it. Obviously, they had to set up for the rematch with Dolph and Miz at some point in time, and they did it in a relatively decent way. So, I thoroughly enjoyed the opening segment to SmackDown. Right after this, they have a segment with Daniel Bryan and Shane McMahon, where they challenge Monday Night Raw to 3 different Survivor Series style matches. One with the best males, a 5-on-5 with the best males, a 5-team versus 5-team with the tag teams. And then, you see my face here, it's like, I'm a little bit wary about that one. And then it's a 5v5 with the women. In all fairness, I don't mind the bragging rights style of everything for the Survivor Series, but it might be a little bit of overkill, especially with the tag team match. That's going to be a 20-man tag team match with 5 teams from Raw, 5 teams from SmackDown, and we'll put it in this sense: like, the tag team division in general is very thin, very thin. And that one leaves it wary. Obviously, they're probably going to do something where they do accept it and everything in that sense. But that tag team match leaves it very wary. And honestly, you would even have to say maybe the women's divisions are a little bit thin at this point, in the terms that they don't have that many female superstars in general on both sides. So it's going to be like you get 5 of them from each. And who's going to be like the 1 or 2 that are going to be left out on each team? So it's going to who's going to be the person left out in the end? But I mean, overall, I don't think it's going to be horrible. But certain matches, especially the tag match, leaves a little bit to be desired because of how thin that division is in the terms of actual star power. But, I mean, we'll see how everything goes in that sense. We will see where everything goes with that one. Up next, they had Carmella going up against Naomi. First of all, they showed a backstage segment where, again, Carmella attacks Nikki Bella, getting like the upper hand on everything. As for the match, not a bad match. Nothing spectacular between the two of them. But, of course, they continue on the storyline with Nikki Bella and Carmella. It seems like, even though definitive winner doesn't mean that the feud's going to have to end, it looks like they're going to go another route and have probably another match with Nikki Bella and Carmella. Nikki Bella comes out and interferes, causing the distraction for Naomi to get the win. And also they continue on this whole aspect of, since Becky Lynch is gone, for the time being, that Alexa Bliss is going after Naomi. At this point in time, to bide the time going into her November 8th match. Because she cuts a promo, and they set up a match for about Naomi saying she could beat her anytime, any place, anywhere. She gets interrupted by Daniel Bryan saying, hey, match next week. Okay, in that sense. Up next, you had Chad Gable going up against Jey Uso. They had Jey Uso win this match. Again, it was just another way of, them continuing on this like secondary pseudo feud with, or actually might be the Usos' main feud now with American Alpha, but continuing on that feud for the time being and seeing where they go with everything in that sense. They get the win with like a roll up, and usually when you have a roll up near the ropes, the person puts their foot on the ropes to gain leverage. But this time, Jey Uso slides in and kind of gives leverage with his own feet. It looked very awkward. It looked really weird. I'm not too sure about that one. But like I said, overall, most of the show was kind of ho-hum in some way, shape, or form. But outside that opening segment, and like I said, there's some decent storytelling to go along with it as well, for some of these other matches. But up next is kind of where the meat and bones went for the show, and I'll get into that after this whole aspect with they had a backstage promo with the Hype Bros where you have Zach and Mojo talking, and then the Ascension pop in there, and they're kind of just looking weird, like, and they completely no-sell Mojo Rawley's like insults towards them, or not insults, but what they were what he was saying towards them in any way, shape, or form. Almost making it like the running gag now is that Mojo Rawley is a figment of Zack Ryder's younger imagination. Basically, what Zack Ryder wants to be at this point in time, but can't be that because of where he is in his career. That's kind of the running gag with it. I mean, we'll see where they running gag out of non-kayfabe. I mean, we'll see where they go in the terms of a actual feud between both of these teams, or if they go anywhere with it at all. But up next was the AJ Styles promo. Basically, AJ Styles gloating and doing a victory speech about winning the triple threat match at No Mercy. And, lo and behold, it was one of those things that it was just great. Like, AJ comes off as a great heel. And like I said, he's definitely shown that a lot more here. There were definitely times back when he was in TNA that was like, you could definitely tell. Great in the ring, no mic skill whatsoever. But like from his time that he left Total Nonstop Action into his time at New Japan, like something changed towards the end of his TNA career, and in that time that he was at New Japan, and now into where he is at the WWE. It was like, because this guy's almost gold on the microphone at this point in time. I've just thoroughly enjoyed his work. He says he was going to give an opponent of his choosing an opportunity tonight for, not for the title, but to wrestle the champion. Of course, he gets interrupted by Dean Ambrose. Dean Ambrose wasn't that guy. And then he brings out the guy to be James Ellsworth, that first guy who got destroyed by Braun Strowman way back when the brand split happened. Right at the beginning of the brand split. So they go down to this point where Ambrose is doing a lot of comedy spots. It's like he was thinking in his head, it's like, you know what? I kind of want to see this, and starts walking over to commentary. But AJ doesn't want to be a commentary. But Daniel Bryan comes out and says, I should be giving the best competition period, but I'm like such a big James Ellsworth fan that I want to see this match. And he makes the match, and then he makes Dean Ambrose the guest referee. And then they go through this whole comedy shtick where, like, Ambrose is pulling stuff out of his pockets and everything. And, like, I get it. In certain sense of the words, the comedy's okay and everything that goes along with it. But I like that edgier side that we saw when he was going up around John Cena and going into the Triple Threat in general. He had a little bit of an edgier side. He wasn't comical in any way, shape, or form. But this one was but these were kind of okay to go along with everything. Now, of course, this sets up the match with James Ellsworth and AJ Styles. And, you know, scary moment happened. And I know a lot of people probably talked about this by now. I'm recording this a little bit later. But James Ellsworth was taking the Styles Clash. And instead of, you know, putting his head back like you're supposed to, he tucked his chin and kind of almost broke his neck doing it. AJ kind of saved it in the sense that he, you know, stopped most of the weight from going there to go along with it. Maybe even noticed that was happening and prevented any real serious damage. But for the storyline purposes, you know, Ambrose is doing his normal shtick throughout the entire thing, where, you know, AJ has the pin, but he conveniently doesn't count. He has the tap out, but he's not looking, and everything like that. Eventually, this leads to, of course, James Ellsworth selling the Styles Clash like a champion, in the sense of, you know, there are people that are actually worried about him, like he's not moving, but he's selling and everything to go along with that, because, you know, they saw how he took the Styles Clash. It's like people wanted to know if he was good, but he sold it throughout the entire thing. He sold it great too. But Dean Ambrose hits AJ with 2 dirty deeds, and eventually a pinfall where he puts over where he picks up James Ellsworth, and you could tell James Ellsworth moves a little bit too, so you kind of knew at that point he was okay. And James Ellsworth gets the victory. So they're setting up something with James Ellsworth and AJ Styles and everything like that for the next week. But like I said, the match was pretty much a bunch of like almost like Dean Ambrose shenanigans and everything to go along with that to try to screw over AJ Styles, and eventually the match goes to James Ellsworth. You have a quick promo backstage from Kane and Randy Orton. Orton saying that I don't want to live in Bray's world anymore. And he's talking to Kane like, do you want to join me in this aspect and everything? And it's like, Kane's like, yeah, whatever. You've got issues. You've got some issues. Which is weird coming from Kane in that sense, at least in kayfabe wise. It's weird coming from Kane because, well, demon. Really. But the match with Orton and Kane versus Bray Wyatt and Luke Harper. This is where I come up with a tagline for this entire thing, entire show of the case of a disappearing Kane. And I love how this is one of those few times that I actually liked when John JBL was on the commentary. It's like after they do that spot at the end of the match where Luke Harper's in the place of Kane as Randy's trying to get the hot tag. It's just like Kane's not Kane, but and of course they have Bray and Luke win after that as well with another Sister Abigail where Bray hits a Sister Abigail, wins the match. But JBL completely goes like, how do you lose a 7-foot monster? You can't lose a 7-foot superstar. This is impossible. Where's Kane? Where's Kane? And it's one of those few times I actually like JBL in that sense. It came off rather well in the end, though as cheesy as possible as well. Then again, I like cheesy. I like cheesy things. When things seem cheesy, I feel like that's a good thing. And that was one of those cheesy moments that came off fine. It came off good in that sense. And we'll see where they continue on with this particular storyline. Overall, this week's SmackDown, like I said, outside of pretty much the AJ Styles stuff with James Ellsworth and Dean Ambrose, which I thought was at least good, but maybe too comical in the terms of where they had been going with Dean Ambrose recently, and the stuff at the beginning of the show with Dolph Ziggler and The Miz, show was kind of meh. Kind of meh in every other sense of the word. The end was okay and like kind of out there too, with the whole aspect of the lights go out, they come back, and Luke Harper is where Kane's supposed to be. Uh-oh type moment. So overall, SmackDown had a couple good moments into it, but otherwise it was kind of a mess show this week. Enough said in that sense of everything. And obviously they've got some time building up stuff going into Survivor Series, because they don't have another pay-per-view until Survivor Series time to go along with it. So we'll see where everything goes leading into that point in time. Otherwise, that is my review this week for WWE Smackdown. I thank you guys for watching, and have a great day.